As an orthopedist, my mornings are often spent looking at X-rays that tell a silent story of loss. But the real story often begins much earlier, with the comforting ritual of a morning beverage. It's not the sugary sodas or juices you already know to avoid. It's a drink many of you consider a non-negotiable, even healthy part of your day. A drink that, I'm begging you to understand, could be actively stealing the very foundation of your strength. In my clinical practice, I see the devastating consequences of what is often called a silent epidemic, osteoporosis, and the fragility fractures that can shatter a senior's independence. We see a broken hip or a collapsed vertebra, and the immediate focus is on repair. But my true mission is prevention, to address the root cause before the fracture ever happens. It's a battle fought not just in the operating room, but at the breakfast table, addressing the subtle habits that accumulate into significant, irreversible damage over decades of a person's life. The standard advice given to patients for decades has been deceptively simple. Drink more milk, eat more cheese, and take a calcium supplement. While well-intentioned, this advice is fundamentally incomplete. It's akin to diligently trying to fill a bathtub with water while the drain is wide open. You can pour in all the calcium you want, but if your daily habits are actively causing that calcium to be flushed out of your body, you are fighting a losing battle. The key isn't just adding more, it's stopping the loss in the first place. This brings us to the crucial concept of calcium thieves, or anti-nutrients. These are not just foods that lack calcium. They are compounds and substances that actively interfere with your body's ability to absorb or retain this vital mineral. They can bind to calcium in your digestive tract, preventing it from ever entering your bloodstream, or they can trigger bodily processes that force your kidneys to excrete precious calcium through your urine. Understanding these thieves is the first critical step to truly protecting your skeletal framework for the long term. The main culprit I want to discuss is a master of disguise. It's a beverage consumed by billions of people around the globe, often associated with productivity, mental clarity, and even certain health benefits according to conflicting studies. This confusion is what makes it so dangerous. People consume it believing they are doing something good, or at least neutral for their bodies, all while a subtle process of mineral depletion is taking place in the background day after day, year after year, completely unnoticed until it's too late. The damage isn't caused by a single isolated incident. It's the cumulative effect, the relentless repetition of the habit, that poses the real threat. Think of your bones as a bank account for calcium. This habit makes a small withdrawal every single morning. One withdrawal is insignificant. But after 10, 20, or 30 years, those small daily withdrawals compound into a state of severe deficit, leaving the entire structure fragile and prone to collapse under the slightest pressure. The foundation of your body is weakened, not by a single event, but by a slow, steady erosion. So, what is this globally loved beverage that could be at the heart of this insidious biological sabotage? What drink, cherished for its ability to kickstart our day, could simultaneously be kickstarting a process of bone degradation? The answer may genuinely surprise you, and it requires us to look past the headlines and understand the nuanced biochemical impact it has, particularly on an aging body that can no longer afford to lose what it has. The morning drink I'm urging seniors to reconsider, or at least fundamentally change how they consume it, is coffee. Now, before you dismiss this, I want to be perfectly clear. I know what you are likely thinking. Coffee? But I've read about its antioxidants, its benefits for heart health, its role in preventing other diseases. You are not wrong. Coffee is not an absolute villain, but its relationship with your bones is complicated, and its negative effects are magnified by how and when you drink it, especially as you age. The first major issue is that caffeine is a well-known diuretic. In simple terms, it makes you urinate more frequently. This process isn't just about flushing out water. It also increases the excretion of essential minerals, including calcium. For every 100 milligrams of caffeine consumed, roughly the amount in one average cup of coffee, your body can lose about 6 milligrams of calcium. It sounds small, but if you're a 2 or 3 cup a day drinker, this creates a significant daily calcium deficit that must be overcome. Beyond just flushing it out, compounds within coffee actively interfere with your body's ability to absorb calcium in the first place. The tannins in coffee can bind with calcium in your digestive tract, forming an insoluble compound that your body cannot absorb. This is particularly problematic if you consume your coffee at the same time as a calcium-rich meal or supplement. You might be consuming plenty of calcium, but the coffee acts as a barrier, ensuring a significant portion of it never makes it to your bones. A third, more subtle mechanism involves coffee's effect on your body's pH balance. Coffee is an acidic beverage, and a high intake can contribute to a state of low-grade metabolic acidosis. To maintain its strict pH balance, your body has a brilliant buffering system. One of its primary tools is to pull alkaline minerals from its reserves. The largest reserve of alkaline minerals in your body? Your bones, in the form of calcium phosphate. Your body may literally be dissolving your bone structure to neutralize the acid from your coffee. You combine these 3 factors. You create a perfect storm against your skeletal health. First, the diuretic effect increases the rate at which you lose calcium through your kidneys. Second, the tannins decrease the amount of calcium you can absorb from your diet. And third, the potential acidic load may prompt your body to draw calcium directly from your bones to maintain balance. It's a multi-pronged attack that consistently puts your bone mineral density at a net loss, especially when it's a daily habit. Let's quantify this to make it more concrete. As mentioned, studies suggest a loss of about 6 milligrams of calcium per 100 milligrams of caffeine. A typical 8-ounce cup of brewed coffee can contain anywhere from 95 to 200 milligrams of caffeine. If you have 2 strong cups a day, you could be creating a daily calcium deficit of over 20 milligrams. Over a year, that's over 700 to 300 milligrams of calcium lost, purely due to your coffee habit. Over a decade, that's a staggering amount of bone mineral density you have to fight to replace. The timing of your coffee consumption is absolutely critical, which is why the morning habit is so detrimental. When you drink coffee first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, the caffeine is absorbed much more rapidly, and its systemic effects, including the diuretic impact on your kidneys, are more pronounced. There is no food in your system to slow down absorption or to provide a source of calcium to offset the losses. It's the most vulnerable time for your body to be exposed to this calcium leaching effect. This problem is further compounded by its interaction with your other efforts to maintain bone health. Many seniors are diligent about taking vitamin D supplements, which is excellent, as vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption in the gut. However, drinking coffee, especially with your meals, can undermine the very process vitamin D is trying to facilitate. You are essentially pressing the accelerator, vitamin D, and the brake, coffee's tannins, at the same time, significantly reducing the effectiveness of your supplementation. And to be clear, while I am focusing on coffee because it is the most common culprit, the issue lies with the caffeine itself. Therefore, this warning extends to other high-caffeine morning beverages. A strong cup of black tea, while generally containing less caffeine than coffee, still contributes to this effect. And the worst offenders are morning energy drinks, or diet sodas, which not only contain high levels of caffeine, but are often loaded with phosphoric acid, another compound strongly linked to lower bone density. Furthermore, it's not just the coffee itself, but what we frequently add to it that can worsen the situation. Loading your coffee with sugar or sugary syrups contributes to systemic inflammation and insulin spikes. Chronic inflammation is a known enemy of bone health, as it can accelerate the activity of osteoclasts, the cells responsible for breaking down bone tissue. You may be taking a problematic beverage and adding an ingredient that fuels an entirely different but equally damaging process. From my clinical perspective, this all comes together when I review a patient's lifestyle history alongside their bone density scan, their DEXA scan. It is not uncommon to see a clear correlation. Patients who report a lifelong high-intake coffee habit, especially black coffee on an empty stomach, often present with lower than expected bone mineral density, even if they otherwise consider themselves healthy. The evidence is not just in the lab. It's visible in the fragility of my patients' skeletons. It's also important to recognize that coffee rarely acts in isolation. It is usually the opening act in a series of morning habits that, when combined, create a profoundly anti-bone health environment. The coffee may start the process of calcium leaching, but the breakfast that follows can either help mitigate the damage or dramatically worsen it. We must look at the entire morning routine as a single, interconnected system that either builds you up or breaks you down. One of the most common and dangerous partners to a morning coffee is excess sodium. A typical breakfast of processed foods like bacon, sausage, or even many commercial breads and cereals is loaded with salt. For every 2,300 milligrams of sodium your body excretes through the kidneys, it takes about 40 milligrams of calcium with it. A high-sodium breakfast following a diuretic cup of coffee is a devastating 1-2 punch that accelerates your daily calcium losses significantly. Another critical error is the lack of adequate protein in the morning. Many people opt for a quick carbohydrate-based breakfast like a pastry, a bagel, or a bowl of sugary cereal. This is a missed opportunity. Your bones are not just inert minerals. They are a living tissue composed of a protein matrix, primarily collagen, that provides the flexible framework upon which minerals are deposited. Without sufficient protein, you aren't providing the scaffolding needed to build and repair bone. Even some seemingly healthy choices can be problematic in this context. For instance, a popular health trend is the green smoothie. But if that smoothie is heavy on raw spinach or beet greens, you are consuming a large amount of oxalates. Similarly, a breakfast high in wheat bran or certain nuts and seeds can be high in phytates. Both oxalates and phytates are compounds that can bind to calcium in the gut and prevent its absorption, similar to the tannins in coffee. Moderation and variety are key. And what about the classic glass of orange juice? While it contains vitamin C, most commercial juices are stripped of their natural fiber, making them a concentrated source of sugar. This can lead to a rapid spike in blood sugar and insulin. Chronically elevated insulin levels can have a negative impact on the hormones that regulate bone remodeling. You are far better off eating the whole orange, which provides fiber to slow sugar absorption and contains other beneficial micronutrients for your bones. So, let's paint the picture of the worst-case scenario morning. You wake up and immediately drink a large cup of black coffee on an empty stomach. This starts the calcium leaching process. You then follow it with a breakfast of processed bacon, white toast, and a glass of orange juice. This meal is high in sodium and sugar, and low in protein and usable calcium. This entire routine, from start to finish, has actively worked against your skeletal health, a pattern repeated daily. The good news is that you have the power to change this. The solution isn't necessarily total deprivation, but a strategic reordering and enhancement of your morning routine. The first and most important rule is to hydrate and nourish your body before you introduce coffee. Start your day with a large glass of water to rehydrate your system. Then eat a bone-supportive breakfast. Only after you have given your body what it needs should you consider having your coffee. So, what does a bone builder breakfast look like? It should be rich in 3 key components: calcium, protein, and vitamin D. Think of options like plain Greek yogurt, topped with a few berries and seeds, scrambled eggs cooked with some kale or other leafy greens, or a smoothie made with fortified milk, or a milk alternative, a scoop of protein powder, and a calcium-rich ingredient like chia seeds or almonds. This type of meal actively supports bone density. You can then modify your coffee habit to be less damaging. The simplest change is to wait at least an hour after your nutrient-dense breakfast before you have your coffee. This gives your body time to absorb the vital minerals from your food without interference. You could also consider reducing your intake, switching to half-caff, or enjoying decaffeinated coffee, which has a much lower concentration of the problematic compounds while still offering some of the antioxidant benefits. For those serious about rebuilding bone density, intelligent supplementation can be a powerful ally, but it must be done correctly. The big three for bone health are calcium, vitamin D3, which is crucial for calcium absorption, and vitamin K2, which helps direct that calcium to your bones and away from your arteries. However, it is absolutely essential that you consult with your doctor to get your levels tested and determine the appropriate dosages for your specific needs. Finally, no dietary strategy can be fully effective without the stimulus of exercise. Your bones are living tissue that responds to the demands placed upon it. Weight-bearing exercises, like walking, jogging, dancing, or resistance training, send signals to your body that it needs to strengthen the skeleton. This mechanical stress is the trigger that tells your body to deposit the calcium you've consumed into the bone matrix, making it denser and more resilient. Imagine a new, powerful morning routine. You wake up and drink a glass of water. You then do some light stretching or go for a brisk 20-minute walk to stimulate your bones. Afterwards, you enjoy a delicious protein and calcium-rich breakfast. And then, an hour later, you can sit down and mindfully enjoy a single, high-quality cup of coffee, knowing you have already given your body the fundamental building blocks it needs to stay strong for a lifetime. Now that you understand the hidden mechanism by which a simple morning habit can impact your bone health, you are empowered to make a change. This isn't about creating fear or demonizing a beloved beverage. It's about providing the knowledge to respect your body's intricate biology and prioritize the long-term strength of your foundation. I truly want to know, has this information changed how you will look at your morning coffee tomorrow? What is one small adjustment you feel you can make? Please share your thoughts and plans in the comments below, as your journey can inspire our entire community. If this orthopedic advice was valuable to you, please subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you do not miss future videos designed to help you live a stronger, healthier, and more vibrant life.